Let's bring in NBC News law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter, who's here. He's been talking with law enforcement sources all night long. Tom, I know we just got new information about the kind of weapon that the shooter used. 3 senior law enforcement officials telling NBC News it was a semi-automatic rifle. Talk about the significance of that.
That's right, Kate. So one of the things that's been put out there is that this is an AR-15 style rifle. I think a lot of times people use that as a catch-all for what we are describing it as, based on 3 law enforcement officials we've spoken to, as a semi-automatic rifle. It means that it will chamber the next round automatically, and then it still needs to, the trigger still needs to be pulled in order to fire. So it's not automatic where you just pull the trigger back and round after round comes out. You have to pull the trigger each individual time that you want to fire around, but it is high powered. It has the capability potentially to cover that distance. It appears to have a longer barrel perhaps than most AR-15s, which would help with that. But bottom line, you're looking at these images. I mean, they're stunning to look at. This individual came exceptionally close to killing the former president of the United States and the Republican nominee in just several days' time. As far as the person who is responsible for this shooting, they've been identified as Thomas Matthew Crooks, born in September of 2003 from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. You know, we've dug through the records in Pennsylvania. They have a robust court system and website. We find no criminal history, no history of any lawsuits. Sometimes, Kate, you and I have talked about this before on other mass shootings or serious events, certainly not an attempted assassination, but we look at lawsuits to see if somebody has a particular axe to grind against an individual or individuals. We can't see that as you're looking at on screen. Registered, according to Pennsylvania records, as a registered Republican, but did donate $15 to a pro-democratic cause. So right now, it's very unclear, in the words of one senior law enforcement official, what the motive might be here. For a 20-year-old male in America, this individual has a very small social media footprint, so that's going to make it more difficult. And I think we have to keep an open mind, because that's what law enforcement is doing at this point, as to what the motive might be.
Yeah, and you were telling me... Sorry,
yeah,
Tom, we were in the hallway talking. You were telling me we've not heard from the family of this person. We've not heard from any friends. We really don't have a lot of information yet.
That's exactly right. The family home is cordoned off by law enforcement. There's a robust law enforcement presence in that neighborhood. You can't even get close to it. So what the family members might be saying, what they're talking about, we just don't yet know. Yeah. Have they found any hard drives or journals at home that can help provide them with the motive? You know, Kate, that remains unclear at this hour as well.
We have video this morning, Tom. If people perhaps haven't seen this yet, it does show the body of the possible shooter on the roof of that nearby building we keep talking about. Our video verification team has that building about 300 yards from where Mr. Trump was speaking. Do police have any further idea? We just talked about it with the district attorney. Tom was speaking with the district attorney about this. How on earth a person was able to get to that position right before this rally?
100%. That's already being looked at, and something that people are focusing on. When you look at this incident and how close it was, and of course this is a Google Earth image that was taken at a moment in time, so we don't see the infrastructure for the Trump rally, the stands, what the Secret Service has set up. They do set up a perimeter. You have to go through magnetometers or be wanded to make sure you're not bringing a gun into any particular rally. This goes for Trump or Biden or anybody else. They receives this level of protection. But to your point, this individual almost directly off to the right of where Trump was speaking, and you're looking at law enforcement who's been up on that the roof of that building this morning. That's going to be an enormous question as to how this person wasn't seen, but also, as I've seen it, and I know, Kate, you've covered a number of these high-profile political events as well. You know, normally you would see some sort of uniformed police presence. So the Secret Service can't be everywhere. They have a limited amount of agents. They have to focus on the protectee, in this case, Donald Trump. But they do engage with the Pennsylvania State Police, who was definitely there yesterday, local law enforcement, to set up a broader perimeter and to have a uniformed presence. And so it's surprising to me, at least based on initial accounts and based on initial video that we've seen, that there didn't appear to be some sort of a uniformed presence there who could get on the radio and say, hey, we got a guy climbing up on a roof. Obviously, the counter sniper spotted him at some point. That's why he's deceased. But you're looking there at how close, and you saw the map, but just how close this was.
Well, and Tom, you know, overnight it's gotten a lot of play. There was one eyewitness who spoke out and said, I did see this man. I saw someone with a rifle, and I tried to flag. he said local law enforcement who were nearby. We don't know exactly what that looked like, but is anyone in your world, your sources, anyone saying perhaps there weren't enough personnel on site yesterday?
I think nobody wants to jump to those type of conclusions until they know precisely what the plan was and what might have happened. But I'll say this: I know that both from the press conference last night involving the FBI and the Pennsylvania State Police, and folks that we've spoken with today, that is something that is absolutely being looked at. What was the plan? Was it the right plan? Clearly not, because for the Secret Service, they have to be right all the time. The person who would want to try to commit an attempted assassination only has to be right once. And so for them, they have to go back and look at this. And obviously, I mean, we've been talking about this campaign for so long between Trump and Biden, and we know what the discussion has been for the last several weeks in this country about the current president and what might happen with him in this race. And we know that Trump obviously has the RNC starting this week. These two are going to have to traverse the country, or whoever is going to be the Democratic nominee is going to have to traverse the country, campaign, talk to people, be out there and engaged with the public in a scenario where you've just had an attempted assassination of one of the candidates. Yeah. The stakes couldn't be higher for the Secret Service at a time where law enforcement, their numbers and their manpower is down. So there's just challenges abroad here. This has completely changed the game, no doubt about it. And so I think a lot of these outdoor rallies, which are frequently used by candidates across the country, are going to be given a hard examination here going forward.
Yeah, make it a second look now. Tom Winter, I appreciate it so much. Thank you. I'll let you go back to reporting.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.